It, and this is a oil pastel bookmark that I'm going to do. I first used, I believe that's phthalo green acrylic paint. I'm using a piece of canvas paper, not canvas paper, it's just canvas, and you get them in pads at any arts and crafts store. They come in really handy for just practice work and for things like this. Now I measured off roughly the width of the ruler, made some guidelines so I knew kind of what area I was going to be working in, and while I do cover them up, I can still see enough that I have a rough idea of where it is I need to paint. And I keep going in and just adding a little bit more, but then I want to brighten it up just a little bit, so I'm going to clean up all of this mess because I don't want to get it all over everything. And then I come back in with Lumiere. I don't remember which green it was with the Lumiere, but it was it's just a light glittery green that just gives it some added interest. And here I'm still drying and drying and drying and looking for paint. Exciting stuff, I know. You would think that I would have edited some of this out, but I didn't. I am the editing video, me and editing videos, if I could figure out a way to do a voiceover. There's the Lumiere paint, I didn't catch the name. And I just go in with my fingers and randomly dab all over, and it gives it really nice highlights. So, and there I took a brush, got it wet, and smoothed it out just a little bit more, and yep, wiped it up, and there you've got, it's got a nice little glow to it in places. So I need that completely dry. And about oil pastels, okay, there I'm going to mark again back in the same place so I can see exactly where I need to be drawing. But going back to the oil pastels, I use hard pastels on the base. Okay, those are Artist Buyer, they say Artist Quality pastels. They're fairly hard, so they make a great base layer. Here I am, I'm just in this very dark color making some vine wavy lines, and I will go in later with a softer pastel and give it more highlights. I use a brush to get rid of all the little extras, and there again, there's the Artist Buyer. It's still the hard pastels, and when I say hard, these are oil pastels. They never fully dry, and that does become kind of an issue when you're trying to make something like a bookmark. But I have found that it can be done, and I also found that my finger is probably one of the best blending tools in this particular project. So I go in and blend everything and smooth it out and work with it. But with these bookmarks, it takes a little bit of work because the oil pastel never does really fully dry, but you can get them fixed enough that they are not going to come off in the books. And it takes several layers of fixative. It takes, I press them between pages, I press pages to them to make sure that they are not going to come off on the book. So it is possible. And there I'm showing you my fingers, which are really dirty. And then I come in with an even lighter color. So I'm just layering color, different greens, just giving it a different effect, getting rid of the little extra pieces that come off. And then I'm going to come in, and all I'm doing is giving the suggestion of vines. And here I'm trying to tell you that I'm going to put, I put 2 coats on, okay, of that fixative. And again, I'm going in with the Artist Buyer, the harder, and I'm just making blobs, not even making petals or anything. I'm just trying to give the impression of flowers. Your eyes will fill in the rest. This particular I'm using a cool green, that's phthalo green with a blue, and so I'm using cool tone flowers. If I use a warm green, I tend to use warm colors for my flowers, warm oranges, warm yellows, but I found that with the phthalo green, pink and purple seem to be just the best. And here I am again. I'm just going in with different colors and highlighting and shading and going over it. And again, I'm using the very hard oil pastel first, and just smoothing in and kind of letting your eye create flowers out of it, or blooms. Actually, I think I was just trying to do blooms in this one. I didn't want actual flowers with it. So I keep working it and playing with it until I get it the way I like it. More fixative. There I am telling you, 2 coats. So I go and spray 2 coats. The coats dry fairly quickly on it, and in the end I end up with quite a few layers of fixative on this, and I do go through fixative a lot. So we're back, and this is probably where I bring in the softer oil pastels. Yep, the Sennelier. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Put down the colors, see how I like them. You'll find out I don't like one, I replace it with another. And these are softer, okay? So I'm going in, making that deep green a little bit deeper. It shows up really nicely. And then I'm going to go in and kind of, again, do a little bit more blending. But when you're working with the oil pastels, it's really best to go ahead and put down the ones that are hardest the first, and then come in with your really soft ones later. Fat over lean, I think is what they call this. And the Sennelier, to me, they are the softest of the pastels that I have. I love my whole beans. I did not bring them out for this particular project, and I have to say, whenever I make one of these bookmarks for people who actually still read books, I end up losing them, and not losing them as in misplacing them, but people ask for them. So, and I don't mind. They don't take long, and they're fun to do, and it's kind of almost a mindless, relaxing activity. So I'm touching up my pink flowers. I've added a little bit of crimson. I've added a little bit of lavender. I felt like I got too far away from the pink. So even though that's an Art Aspire, it's harder, I'm still going back in with it to up the pink in these flowers. And it's working well. And there you see I'm thinking, and I'm trying to tell you that it could be 2, 3, 5 coats. You put as many coats as it takes to get this fully sealed. And so I'll spray it and spray it and spray it, letting it dry between layers. And finally, before I ever start using it, I do press it between 2 book pages and test to make sure that it's not going to come off. Now, it's best if you finish the back somehow. Here I am trimming it up. I can see the guidelines that I made, so I'm just going along those guidelines. And here we have it, my little bookmark with pink flowers, and I had something there I wanted to scrape off, and there we go. That's all there is. Thanks, guys.